Three, two, one. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me for another Growth Secrets interview series. We've been interviewing business leaders, marketing leaders, and creative entrepreneurs to see how they're building and how they've built and how they're growing their businesses, and within a special focus on how we're adjusting to life in this coronavirus shutdown, pandemic, shelter in place, whatever we're calling this weird period in history. Thankfully, I'm having the chance today to talk to Ben Walker with Spindle and Oak. He's another Atlanta guy. He's another Southern guy. So if you are not prepared to listen to a couple of Southern accents, then you should just jump off the video now, because it's going to be full of them, and I couldn't be more excited about it. So Ben, thanks so much for joining me, man.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be a part of your show. Awesome. I'll try to keep my Southern accent at a minimum.
Never. Well, Ben, tell us about your business. Give us a little background, and what are you guys working on these days, and how do you help people?
Yeah, so we are a full-service design, build, construction firm, and so we really focus on the residential side. So it's any kind of renovations that you want to do in the inside or outside of your home. And so we're still new. We're still within the 2-year mark, and you know, we got our start not knowing really what to expect. So I guess I'm not jumping ahead too much here, but I wasn't always in construction. I had an 18-year career in technology and product management and project management as well, and really loved you know, the opportunities that we had when we could really hone in on the customer experience and client relationships and understand how important those two things were. And I also had the opportunity to experience what environments look like without those, and so that is something that I am pulling with me in starting this company a couple years ago, and something that we keep at the forefront of our values. And you know, also, you know, my dad was a builder, and I grew up building stuff. And even in my technology career, we were always renovating our home or family's home, friends' homes, and having a lot of fun doing that. And at some point, you know, we've all had bad contractor experiences, right? So we've had our own. You know, they're just really kind of shifty, unreliable, not transparent. You know, for the majority of them, they really don't care about what the experience was to you. They just want to get paid. And, you know, at least for, you know, since the last recession, there's been so much work out there, they haven't really had to care about reviews. You know, there's that many people calling their phone just because they're listed somewhere, that they can really care less. They just want to get that next paycheck. And that's why you hear a lot of them, they get paid, you know, 90%, and then you don't see them again, because that last 10% is so hard to get through. They don't really care about that money. So that's one of the main reasons that we wanted to start this. Is I want to do something that I'm passionate about. I love. I'm going to focus on certain things I'm taking with me from the technology field, and I want to do it differently. And in doing that, we really keeping our Southern values at the forefront of that, and establishing a brand that we can really, you know, fly those high, and be proud of what are the values that we've been founded on.
I muted myself on accident. Yeah, so I love that. I love that that you're disrupting an industry that one has been around for a long time. People have been building stuff for a long time, but it has developed a bit of a black eye. And you know, I know a lot of contractors, and they're good people, and so I hate that that's happened to the industry. But it has happened, right? I love the Ron Swanson quote from Parks and Rec. He says, "I don't want to paint with a broad brush, but every contractor ever is a lying, thieving hack." And I've worked in a lot of industries where that black eye is already there, and so you have to overcome that, which I'm sure you've seen as a challenge at first. But if you can very definitely differentiate yourself, then there's a great opportunity there. Have you seen that bear out in real life?
Yeah, absolutely. First, you meet somebody, clean off the street, they haven't heard of you or they don't know much about you. You do have a little bit of more work, um, uh, more work in kind of proving who you are, talking about the process, how transparent you want to be, just really putting their fears at ease and establishing that trust that's been broken so many times. And I agree with you. I have a lot of contractor friends too, and they're great guys, but like for the great majority, man, we get a bad name, and it's rightly so. But the things that differentiate us are, and this is what we really spend our marketing dollars in kind of stating and making sure that everybody knows this about us, is that we really want to focus on that expert craftsmanship. We really focus on the exquisite customer experience, and the transparency. And then, the third thing is really staying on budget. So if somebody can trust you, they know that you're going to do a good work. So we do a lot of social media stuff, and they see the work that we do. We do a lot of reviews and live reviews, so people see exactly what people think of us after the project is done, which is very important. And then they see, that we have the budget that we started on, we have stuck to it. Now, there are unforeseeable things. You open up a wall and the house is about to collapse. You have to fix it by anyone. But I think that, making sure that they know exactly where you are in the process, knowing the risk, and then knowing, what could be the possible costs. You have a standard project. It could be X. Well, it could cost X. Well, as you go through that project, you're talking about finishes, and this is getting into the nuts and bolts of everything. But if you're thinking about like selecting tile and selecting, a wall color and selecting a lighting fixture, it could be X, it could stick to that. And we start with an allocation. We're very forefront about that. Like, hey, we're giving you $200 for the lighting fixture and $4 a square foot for the flooring. Now, if they pick something that's $15 a square foot and a $500 lighting fixture, it's pretty clear to them, like, this is above and beyond what we've really allocated. So explaining those things out to them and creating that spreadsheet of allocations from the very beginning and sharing it with them, they feel like they're really in control of how the project is going, where we are in the process, and then being able to control the prices, understanding where they could start to save some, and then where they could allocate that money in other places they want to spend more.
I got you. And is that stuff you brought over from that product and project management career? It's just that real clear understanding of timelines and communication and transparency so that everybody knows what's going on and when?
Yeah, absolutely. Project management, the main task of project management is just making sure that all the stakeholders are comfortable.
Yep.
Right? If you make sure that they're informed, or some of them are informed, it's the whole RACI model, right? Some people need to be responsible for what you're telling them, or they need to take action. Some people just need to be informed, and then knowing that somebody else has got it, somebody's got the ball and they're running with it. We're within the guidelines, we're within budget, all's good, let's go into the next phase. That's the main battle. And clients, we're talking about homeowners, we're talking about our wives, we are our neighbors, and my wife is very, very detailed. And so I often channel her, and her name is Lane. And she's great, but she keeps me in line, say the least. But I channel her and say, hey, if this was Lane's house, how would she want us to clean up at the end of each day? How would she want to be informed of, oops, we found something in the wall? It's being honest and immediate and saying, hey, this is what we found. This is what it could mean, but I'm going to put it together, and I'll present to you what we would like to do, what we're recommending to do, and what it might cost. So really, making sure that the clients, and they're all different. Some of the guys that we, the guy homeowners are all like, yeah, dude, looks good, go for it, and then the women are like, wait, hold on a second, well, let's talk about it. So it's very similar to the technology world.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, I was gonna add on to that. Not only my project management side, but also my product management.
Mm-hmm.
And so understanding that this is, an industry that can be productized. It doesn't have to be a fuzzy number out there like, oh my gosh, we're going to do our kitchen, it's going to be a fortune. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? If you're transparent enough, they see exactly where their dollars are going. They can really pick off, and kind of itemize it. And it's almost like a little shopping list. Hey, what do you want? Where do you want to spend your money? And, and I can be a consultant in that role too. And like, hey, I can consult you. You probably want to spend a little bit more money here. You can pull back a little bit here. And so understanding that, this is a product, it's got to be affordable. It's got to be viable. Like, people need to understand that they can spend this money, and they always want to understand about ROI. And that's a big part of being transparent, because somebody can spend, $100,000 on their kitchen. It's unbelievable, right? Mm-hmm. So they're often asking, well, what's the ROI? So I say, typically, hey, if you want a quantitative analysis, do you have a realtor? And if you have somebody, great, ask them those questions. If not, I can give you one. I can have somebody to talk to you to answer those questions. But it's also a battle between the quantitative and the qualitative. So yes, you spend $100,000 on your kitchen, you're not going to get all that money back. You might get, 75% of it back if it was a really really outdated kitchen before. But it's the qualitative. It's understanding the wow. Like, okay, one, are you looking to sell your home, or what do you want to do with it? You want to, yes, you want to demand more money on the market, but also you want to give that qualitative wow, that first impression, right? The surprise and delight. They walk into your home and they're like, the wife hits the husband. She's like, honey, look at this kitchen. This is amazing. And the guy walks into the backyard. He hits his wife in the shoulder and say, honey, look at this backyard. We're home. You can't put a price on that. And if they're looking to stay in the home too, it's like why wouldn't you enjoy this? I think it was 90% of homeowners, they buy a home and they don't choose. They say, hey, we got to do something about that kitchen. We got to do something about that yard. 90% of them don't do a thing until they're ready to sell. And then when they're ready to sell, they spend that money and they're like, oh my gosh, this kitchen is amazing. Why do we wait to do this? So it's a constant balance of being transparent, making them comfortable, and then helping them understand the qualitative versus quantitative values of any kind of renovation that they're about to undertake.
Okay, so you mentioned a couple of things that I actually think I can identify with you quite a bit on this. Starting back at the beginning, I mean, I make jokes about contractors having a black eye, but my industry has earned a black eye too, right? I have to overcome that issue a lot, where people saying, well, yeah, we hired a marketing agency before and we really got burned. They promised us millions of dollars in revenue and they took our money and ran. All the way up to this balance that I think you have to strike between creating a productized service offering, but then providing enough consultative value add to really distinguish yourself from just being commoditized along with the rest of any types of off-the-shelf products that they could buy, right? So was that an intentional thing of saying, look, here is our standard, package or foundation to our packages, and then this is our process for adding that consultative component so that each one is unique and different?
Yeah, I want to say, hey, we were 100%, intentional about every aspect from the get-go, but we weren't. It's a learning process, right? When you start a company, I didn't know everything I know now, when I started, and I don't know now what I'm going to know in 10 years. But it's really goes back to like making them feel comfortable, and hey, we're not going to come across any problem that we're not going to be able to solve. Find at ease. But as far as the marketing, so I want to kind of like pivot and address your marketing, your statement there is often hard as marketers, because I was mostly in marketing, in project and product management. But as marketers, it's often hard to give that quantitative value. They want to say, all right, we're spending whatever it is, $5,000 in Facebook ads. Like, show me the money. Like, tell me where that was worth it. And it's often hard to give a apples to apples answer to something like that. But it's a holistic view. And so in marketing, and I know I'm going off on a tangent here.
Nope, please. Yeah, this is good stuff.
It's all about getting your name out there. It's word of mouth is king, as always. In this industry is even more so. But you spending your time, which is money, in creating a good website, creating social media posts that people can identify with, and understanding your audience. Who's your target audience? Is my target audience Angie's List? No, I do not want people that are just looking for the cheapest electrician to come in and do a small job. My audience is more the Houzz, HOUZZ members, and they are the dreamers. They know they want to do their kitchen, and they invest time in creating idea books for that perfect look and feel to kind of accommodate a certain look into their style. But it's advertising where they are and understanding their buying journey. Like, this is product management 101, right? Understanding the buyer's journey. Where are they doing research? Well, they ask neighbors. They sometimes do recommendations on Facebook. They're on Nextdoor. They ask, neighbors in passing, who have you used? They drive past their house and you have a yard sign saying Spindle and Oak renovations. And they're like, oh, wow. So the next time they see you, they might talk to you. But like any individualized one of these things, like, yeah, I spend $500 on yard signs. Like, how do I see the money come back on that? Because people don't call me and say, hey, I just saw your yard sign. Well, sometimes, but oftentimes they see a yard sign. They see an ad that we're running in the home mag. They hear somebody about, talking about us on Nextdoor, and then finally the straw that, broke the camel's back is they see us do, one of their friends comments on one of our live, videos on, Facebook, like a big reveal video or something like that. Or we like to do the handing the key to the client at the end of the project and have like a toast. So all of these things kind of work together, and then, you eventually get there and you get to be successful. But it's really hard to, when you're in a new business, know where to spend the money. But understanding the whole ecosystem and the buying journey is very important.
Look, I love that. Obviously, you're preaching to the choir here. I talk about it as an ecosystem a lot, right? And I do talk about things like a funnel, right? Like there are situations when it is appropriate and useful to have, one traffic source, one conversion point, and you've got yourself a marketing funnel. But when I'm working with clients, especially over the long term, we want to build out multiple funnels into this ecosystem, which includes, content, speaking engagements, yard signs, potentially, sure, right? Like all this network, this web of different places that your name can be seen, and different opportunities for people to come into your ecosystem. Once they're in the ecosystem, either proactively or just in a static way, you can give people a way that they can learn more, and they can dig deeper. They can see testimonials, they can see reviews, all the way to the point, like you said, where there's that final trigger event where the interest kind of hits the ceiling, and the timing is right, where they say, you know what, I've seen Spindle and Oak in enough places, and I've seen their work, and I can't not pick up the phone and call Ben. Like, that's it. I've had it. Like, I know I want to do this. I got to at least talk to somebody, right? So
Right.
I think you're absolutely telling the right message there. If we can, I'd like to pivot and kind of call out the elephant in the room that a lot of people are thinking about right now. And it's this coronavirus thing that's going on and how it's affecting all of our lives. And it's affecting us as business leaders, not only in the operations of our business, and you can start with either one of these that you like. But I've been talking to a lot of people about how it's affecting their sales and marketing, right? Is now a good time to be marketing and to be selling? Is it the time to hold back? What's the right thing to do there? I tend to think it's a great opportunity to be investing a lot of time and money and energy into marketing, because the competition may not be able or may not be willing to do that. But I'm curious to get your take on all that, and then maybe how you've adjusted your business overall for everything that's going on.
Yeah, it's a great question. We are an interior and exterior renovations company, meaning we do any kind of project inside and outside the house. We've really made a strong pivot to be on the outside of your house right now during these times, for your safety and for the safety of our crews as well. And so focusing on those exterior projects and expanding on those is what we've really had to do. Now we've got, specific ideas, to be responsive to what's going on with the virus. But as far as our nuts and bolts of our business, we are adding on, doing some hardscapes, doing a lot of stuff that we don't, I didn't get in the business to paint a bunch of houses in the summer of 2020. But that's a lot of what we're going to be doing. We're going to be painting some houses, baby. I mean, this summer is going to be covered in paint and doing a lot of, wood rot repair, hardscapes. We do a lot of, retaining walls and repouring driveways. So it's understanding that, we might have been given some lemons during this time, but we are really going to do everything that we can to make it sweet and enjoyable and make the best out of it. Specifically things that we are rolling out right now. They're modular kind of these kits that you can get and to create hardscapes. And we've been able to reverse engineer this whole system. And now we can do it for a fraction of the price to build outdoor chimneys, fireplaces, fire pits, outdoor kitchens, raised gardens, you name it. So we're really taking that and we're productizing that, and like, hey, normally this would cost, X. Now it only, we can do it for this, and it looks this good, and give examples. But the strongest idea that we've had right now is around remote offices. So the way that we are working, like I've been in my home office for, last few years, right? It's not a whole lot different for me, but what is different is, all these kids running around screaming and yelling when I'm on client calls or trying to get bids out the door. That's different.
Yeah.
But I think in the general population, that we are all working from home. And I don't know how this is really going to change the way that businesses work, but they've been forced to allow remote workers and to have the infrastructure put in place. So after this season is over, or until the next flu season goes, we might all be working differently. And I think we've all gotten a good taste of what it is like to work from home with kids and family in here. But I think that when we go back to some kind of normalcy, I think that we're all going to work remotely a little bit more often, and with a little bit more permission and guidance and acceptance from parent companies. And so the thing that we're rolling out are remote offices. So we are building small offices, standalone offices in people's backyards and it can be a flex area. The front can be an office, and they could also use it as a paint studio or, a yoga studio, exercise room, or something for the kids, office by day, studio by night. And then the back of the office be a separate storage area for anything from rake, shovels, lawnmowers, whatever you want to store in your backyard, right? But in rolling this out and building these things, people are really enjoying. Yes, we have the comfort and the ease of working from home, but hey, we're not in the house. We're not in a Starbucks or a shared workspace either, because that can be cumbersome and expensive. But hey, we're in the backyard, and maybe the kids are trained like, don't go knock on mommy's or daddy's door, during work hours. But like, leave them alone, and yeah, they'll come out and see us at lunchtime. So that's something that we're really excited about rolling out. Different sizes, different shapes, different finishes, but these places are nice, comfortable, professional workspaces that people can come to visit you. If not, you can sit there and work alone, and it's air conditioned or heated, and it's we're excited about the reaction that we're having in the market so far.
So I think that is really smart to jump on that. You and I were talking before we started the actual interview. I think that some number between like 20 and 50% of businesses where they have people currently working from home, when all of this stuff is over, whenever that is, I think there's going to be a lot of conversations with employees and employers where they say, hey, did it work just fine for you to work from home, just from a productivity and from a connectivity point? And they're going to say, yeah, it kind of was. I don't think I want to commute again. Like, I think I like that, which is going to shift the demand to, in a lot of ways, on the fly retrofitting of their homes. I don't think all those people are going to go out and buy new houses. Like, we're very fortunate. We had an extra room in the house that I had set up as a home office years ago, right? We got a bonus room, but soon I'm going to have to give it up to the kids because they're getting bigger and they're going to need this as a playroom, right? So there's going to be a big need for this. And I had been seeing this happening, this shift to remote work for a while. This thing obviously forced it on everybody. Right. So I think that's a really smart pivot. And I'm also excited to see how you guys are able to roll that out and really implement that over the next year or so. So yeah, I'm excited for you on that one. I think it's super smart.
Yeah, I'm too. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I want to be conscious of your time. I know we've had a good opportunity to chat here. Where can people learn more about you and maybe see some of the work that you've done and get in touch with you if they have a project in mind?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find us just by searching for Spindle and Oak. Our website is Spindle and Oak spelled out, spindleandoak.com. We have strong social properties. So we have a great house profile with all of our past projects, reviews. I think we're up to 16, 17 five-star reviews now. A great Facebook community, Instagram, and you name it, we're on it. Nextdoor. So we try to be very transparent. We try to post pictures as soon as we have them of finished projects. We're trying to interact with our target buyers in any and every way we can online. But it's all supplemental, right? Because word of mouth is so key, especially if these projects are worth $100K to $250K. People doing major renovations to their house, they tend to do their homework a little bit more than when they ask for recommendations. Hey, what dog food, are you feeding Sparky because they're having digestive problems? So people are doing their homework, and they should be. And I always tell people to, get 2 or 3, 4 quotes so you can really tell the difference. And, in a little bit of education too, like, you're going to have lowball offers. You're going to have guys that come in and say they can do it all because it's just them. But they might burn down your house, and they'll probably be in there for 6 months. But you just have to understand the full spectrum of that. So, but but yeah, if you land on one of our social properties, you can find our email address and phone number and give us a shout. And if nothing else, we just love to have conversations and to dream with you and talk about process and the way that you should think about it. If you have a renovation, recent, or something that's coming up, that's something you want to do that year, or something that's a few years down the road, we can kind of help you think about how you should budget for it and how you should plan for it and what the process would look like.
So we'll definitely link to all of those things that you mentioned here in the comments. And if you guys are watching on YouTube later on, it'll be in the description of the video. And then if you're listening on the podcast, we'll make sure to link it down below. I think it's super smart that you pick those particular platforms. I know that the word of mouth, and I tell people all the time that the whole purpose of marketing really is to create an opportunity to spread by word of mouth, right? We ultimately want our customers to be the reason we get new customers, right? But we have to create that infrastructure for them to be able to find that and then to verify and validate the work that you've done. And so I think that's great. We'll definitely share that. Well, Ben, I really appreciate your time today. I owe you lunch now that I know that we're both local Atlanta guys, Atlanta-ish.
Right.
Once it's okay to go back out and, like shake hands and eat in public, we should do it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That sounds great. I'll take you up on that offer. Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed the conversation, and yeah, I'm glad you're out there talking about marketing. And I love everything about marketing, and it's awesome to kind of build something from scratch. It's kind of the American dream, and it's tough, and it absolutely stinks sometimes, but it's well worth it. So I love to have these conversations and help people maybe get past that hurdle of, hey, I want to start something, or I'm thinking about this. I think that Steve Harvey has a great video out there about being able to jump. And I don't know a whole lot about Steve Harvey. You might be a fan or not, but it was something that I listened to early on, and it feels like a jump starting a business. And it's uncomfortable, but it's well worth it.
Oh, look, I completely agree. We could share war stories. I could show you some scars I've developed over the years, as I'm sure you could too. It's truly it is challenging in so many ways, and it's rewarding in so many ways. I think it's the reason that keeps people out of it. I think the challenges keep people away from it, and it's the rewards that keep people addicted to it. And so it's about that process, right? It's about kind of falling in love with the process. So I'm glad to see that you've had success relatively early on. I think a lot of people consider 2 years in to be very early on. I know it's probably felt like a long 2 years. But I'm glad to see it, Ben. I am.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Everybody, if you've been watching this, if you've enjoyed this, or if you haven't enjoyed it, still leave a comment, like it. Let me know if you watch this thing live or on the replay. I'm always curious to know when people are watching. If you have any questions for Ben or myself, you know where to find us. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you on the next one.